Sylvana. In between episodes, I did go and do some things with training in my bags, so that we're ready to go on to the next set, which we know is over by the lake. So let's just head over that direction. So I've been looking at the things with what's going on from here with the expansion that's currently out, which is Warlords of Draenor. Um, Now, when they first released it, let me backtrack that a little bit because I want to talk to you about some things with Warcraft and Blizzard in general. Okay, so when you first start the game in the early levels, you can't fly at all. And then when you get in to level 60, it becomes like a natural step up to be able to fly. But there is, straight down, right? Yep, some limitations of when and where you can do that. And then as the new expansions were coming out, you would get, like when Cataclysm came out, you couldn't get flying. Well, Lich King, let's start with that, because that was the next one that came out, because flying came with Burning Crusades. And before then, you really couldn't fly. So, Burning Crusade, you have to be 60 to pick up flying. Now, you go into that area as a level 58. So that leaves you about 2 levels where you're on the ground before you can fly wherever you want to fly. Okay, then when Lich King came out, if you had maxed out your character, which at that time, I want to say the numbers right. Let's see, Kata goes to 85. So Lich King went to 75 or 80? To 80. Went to 80. I had to think about it for a minute. If you were already maxed out to 75 when you came into Lich King, you could immediately pick up your flying. Now, in a way, because Northrend is so big, that was a bonus. And in a way, it was, if you're going for immersion, it was kind of a detriment because you didn't really have to explore like you did in vanilla, but you didn't really have to do that in Burning Crusades either. In Kata, again, flying came pretty quickly as you came in to the zone. MOP switched that around. Now, I liked the way, and I don't like much about MOP, I'll tell you that right now. But I liked how MOP had flying. How MOP worked flying was that when you couldn't get your flying until you hit 90, which was the max level for that zone. Okay, so it says she thing. Oh, right there. I'm looking dead at it. Okay, so we're out of here. Um, you had to get to max level before you could pick up flying, and then you could fly around the zones as you pleased. And then they implemented timeless isle, which you could never really fly at unless you had the legendary cloak, and that was a very long, drawn out quest to get it. I mean, you could do this kind of short burst glide thing. Uh, it was not real useful, but they built the zone where walking. It was a small little island, so walking around it wasn't that big of a deal. You could get from point A to point B if there was a boss battle going on or something like that pretty quickly, and you didn't feel really hindered by the fact that that you couldn't fly. So I liked that. So when Warlords came and they first said that at the beginning of the expansion there would be no flying in Draenor, I was completely expecting it to be like Mists of Pandaria, where when they released the first patch, they would, because by then you would be max level. At max level, you would be able to pick up flying at least in the areas where you had already been. The start zones in the first few areas of. So we're going to go into the Altar of Zul. Now you notice we had the thing pop up that the Hinterland quests are done. That technically means we're done with the area. That means we're very close to done with the quests. Since that's the case, and I have to go over this way for this anyway. Remember, I told you how to tell what's next. So you can tell Western Plaguelands is 35 to 40, and then Eastern is 40 to 45. So we know these two are the next two places we're going to go. But before we go there, I'm going to walk over here and pick up this part of the map, come back, do this quest, and then I'll probably stop by and get this part of the map before I go turn it in. And if I remember right, how you get to Western Plaguelands, because you will pick up the quest for that back here, is you see this little path, you walk up the path into it. Alright, so now that we know where we're going, we can go back to flying. So, they released patch 6.1, still no flying. And that was kind of a surprise, but you were still leveling up in the main part of Draenor, and it kind of made sense that they still wanted to keep you on the ground, and they didn't know how maybe to split the island up. Well, not island, but bigger than an island, smaller than a normal continent, but it is a continent, so whatever that would be. Like, it's Australia size, so the districts. I don't know. Anyway, so now they're getting ready to put out 6.2, and Blizzard released a statement by one of their main guys saying that in 6.2 they'll be opening up Tanan Jungle, which is the level 100 zone on Draenor, but there will still be no flying at all anywhere. And because it would ruin, quote unquote, not a direct quote, but basic gist of it is because if we let you fly, you would no longer be immersed in Draenor. The problem is, as this expansion has gone on and on and on, nobody's really, unless they're leveling a character, nobody is going out into the world. They're staying in their area. When you play Draenor, you get like a home base, and I'm forgetting what it's actually called right now. But people are a garrison. It's called a garrison. So people are just staying in their garrison and they're not doing anything. Okay, that should give me. Yep, that gives me that part of the map. So I now there's archaeology on Draenor, and I haven't shown you archaeology, and I will. I promise. I will show you what archaeology consists of and why. There is no other skill on the list of skills that you can have that requires, I mean, literally, I will state for whatever record you want to put it on, it requires you to have flying because you don't want to walk or run on a mount to do this crap. You really don't. So I don't understand why they just don't have, they have no flying in Tanan, fine, because that's the new zone. Okay, cool. But you can fly around in the rest of the zones. Tanan's kind of off to itself anyway, and they've done that before with, because, here, I'll show you on this map. Let me make sure I'm somewhere safe. Okay, we're going to come back out a little bit, and we're going to go down to where it's at. Where are you at? Eastern, Western, where's it at? Coastlands. Twilight will work. Okay, so here's Twilight Highlands. This is a cataclysm area. Here is Loch Moden. It's a start area. If you were, say, 70, where you had flying, and you were flying yourself down the street, and you crossed into Twilight, where you are too low level to be flying at, because you don't have flight for that area, it would, with a parachute, so you wouldn't die, dismount you. So you can't tell me you can't do that same idea for Draenor, where I can fly in the start zone. You know, I can fly in the Grand, or I can fly in. Oops, damn it! I got too close to the creeping ruin. That's my fault. I can fly there and do my archaeology, which I haven't done in much of in Draenor, unless I'm questing and there is a dig site near where I'm questing, because the simple fact of getting from point A to point B in that zone on the ground is a pain in my butt, and the rewards for archaeology does not make it worth my time and aggravation. Now, this is a place where I wish I could fly. Now, this is why they don't allow you to fly yet. If I was on my main character with this quest, who can fly in this zone, I could hop my flight, fly to that area, land on the top, which is where they're at, get what I need to get, and be back to the place in about 5 minutes, maybe. You know, plus the fight would be easy at that level, so maybe less. So I'm not saying beginners in there should be able to fly. No, okay, if you're still under level 100, no flight for you. If it's the current zone, okay, no flying. I'm fine with that. I don't know if I'm going to do Tanan or not because I keep hearing all this crap about Tanan is just a giant Apexis crystal grind, and I I hate the grind mechanic, and I absolutely won't frickin' do it. And I'm not the only one. You know, we talked a few episodes ago about the fact that Blizz has lost a huge amount of subscribers. Well, we've told Blizz 100 million times that we hate this grindy grind, whether it's grindy for rep or it's grindy for crystals or it's grindy for moats. It doesn't matter what we're grinding for, yo. We don't want to do that. We don't want to be stuck having to do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. It's boring as all hell. We don't want to do it. Please stop with this. And Draenor, they said, "Oh, we heard the fan base. We're listening to you. We've changed it. We've implemented all this other stuff that people have been asking for years." And this huge glut of people rejoined, because I'm telling you now, that's what it was. This wasn't brand new subscribers, or it was very few brand new subscribers. Most of these were people who had left the game that came back to see if Blizzard had told the truth and really listened to the things that are an overwhelming concern to the majority of the playing base. They hold a thing each year. It's called BlizzCon. It's in Anaheim. Thousands and thousands of people go to this fucking thing for 3 days. This is your player base. And these are the people who continually, when you have Q&A, when you give them a time to speak to you, Blizz, they're continually telling you, we hate grinding quests, we hate grinding quests, we hate grinding quests. And you're like, okay, I hear that. I gotcha. Okay, we'll do something about that. And you don't. You make more. Because everything in the garrison is nothing but a grindy quest. Okay, what did I miss? Alright, I'm going to go back to town, turn this quest in, see what we get, and see if I can figure out what I've missed for Explorer. You know, we were up in arms about the dailies way back in Cat with the Firelands and stuff, where it was the same crap. There's 5 quests that it circles through for 6 freaking months. Alright, so here's this. We get to pick. That's crap. That's better. No. Okay, we'll go the bracers. Okay. So it wants us, well, this how we would have picked up Shanda if we hadn't went down by ourselves. but that's fine. You know, I'm just so irritated that they say, here's this company that says it cares about its player base, it cares about its members. It wants to. That's why there's the forums. That's why they have BlizzCon, so that there's this open communication between what we want and what they can do, so that we can make those two things mate as much as possible. We're not going to be able to make everyone happy every minute of every day. Okay, now you see, quest is going to come back to here, and something's going on there. So we got to go up and use it in the temples. Ran a little too close to that zealot. But when they're told, they were told way back in Kata, no grind, please. We're tired of grind. We're tired of this daily grind. And then we get to MOP, and MOP is multiple grinds for each faction, for the Golden Lotus, and for this and that. And Timeless Isle is another fucking grind. And you're like, but I thought that they had heard us, that there wasn't going to be any more of this bull crappy grind stuff. And the player base got up in arms again in MOP, and they left in droves over time. And they're stating the same stuff. Some of these are PvPers, and so their problem is other stuff as well. But even with PvP, it's the same grind. It's the same 4 or 5 battlegrounds again and again and again and again and again and again and again. And so that's still a grind. So again, we told Blizzard on the forums, and we told them at BlizzCon, and they had multiple interviews as they were fitted as MOP was coming to a close and Warlords was getting set to launch, that they had heard the player base overwhelming majority say they don't like the grind quests where you're having to do the same thing again and again and again. And they had heard that, and in Warlords, they were going to make it where that wasn't a thing anymore, and that they had all these great ideas that would keep people in the game, but they wouldn't be grind mechanics, and it'd be fresh and be new. And Warlords came, and you got your garrison, and this is when you found out that your garrison's your new daily. This is your new timeless quest. This is your new Firelands. This is your new Golden Lotus frickin' rep place. You have to go. And it's not once a day with the garrisons. It's multiple times a day to send your people off to do the same effing stuff again and again and again. Then you do the quests, and the quests are like these, just straight out questline quests. And now, here's these people who I've watched for a long time, and I trust their opinion, who have access to the PTR, because I don't, who are saying they've been in the PTR, they've played the 6.2 that they're currently testing there, and not only do you have the grind of your garrisons. They're adding a new grind for your garrisons in. So now not only do you have your normal walkie people grind of garrison people to send out, but you're going to have a boat set too. Oh, good, because that's what I wanted. More of that crap. And then the zone for Tanan has subquests, and then the rest of it is go do this stuff for some Apexis crystals, and you need like a shit ton of Apexis crystals to get this piece of decent gear. Okay, kill Shadra the Venom Queen. Yay. Okay, we can do that. It'll tell you where she's at. Not that you need to look too hard. See the giant spider? That'd be her. Oh, I'm not close enough to hit her. Kill the giant spider. Alright, she's dead. Can't freaking loot her. Doesn't go back to him? Oh, it goes back to REP. Remember I told you the quest that go on to the next place was at REP? Well, this is how it gets you back there. So that you can see the quest giver. So this and this is why a huge group, even before 6.2 came out, this is why that huge group that came back, this is a good portion of the people that left again, is, we were faithfully promised no more grinding. And then, guess what? More grinding. And the new expansion, there's enough people playing PTR that are big on YouTube that are telling people what this is, that those people won't come back for the launch of 6.2. And in this interview that I'm referencing with this guy from Blizz that says they are not going to allow flying in Draenor with the new expansion, goes on to say they don't plan to allow flying in Draenor pretty much ever. Maybe some point after the next expansion. Maybe. And the next expansion probably won't have flying in it either. At all. Well, what's the point of my fly mounts then? And better yet, they have fly mounts you can buy at the Blizz store. What's the freaking point of buying them if the only place I can fly them at is really, really old content that, unless you're doing an alt or you're somehow brand new to the game, and I'm not saying that's impossible, because that's part of what this channel is about, is if you're brand new to the game, but those numbers of brand new to the game are getting less and less and less because they keep hearing all this bad stuff about the new stuff. Okay. So that's worse. That's an Intel piece. Stam. We can use some Stam. So go ahead, put that on. And then he's going to give us the quest for Anderhall, which is the start area for Western Plaguelands. Okay, so while I'm here, I'm going to go into Exploration, Eastern Kingdoms, and see what I'm missing here. Plague Mist Ravine. Well, if that is what I'm missing, and I'm right, that'll be this area right here where I'm about to go. So we'll find out. When we get to Enderhall, since it's the start of a new zone, that's where we're going to end this episode. So I'll finish my mini rant here on Blizz and Flying. In the end, they can do whatever they want to with their game. I mean, that's kind of the sad but true part of this is Blizzard's world. We just get to play in it. If the expansion stuff does not start to take into account things for players like me, I am seriously considering discontinuing my membership to World of Warcraft. I don't see where else I could be. Here, maybe? I don't think so, though. You know, but I love this game. There we go. There it is. I figured I was right, and that's what this is. I do love this game, and I like leveling up my alts until I get to a certain level, and then I hate it. And then I'll get, when I get into mists, I'll hate that part. And then I'll get out of mists, and I like leveling up in Warlords. I still do. I don't play my character that's level 100 pretty much at all ever, unless I'm doing fun stuff with my friends. You know, I'm right here on Darrowmere, and I know I'm not going to come and do this dungeon, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick up this little piece of map while I'm here. Because I know there's no monsters in here. But I still played my level. I had 5 that were at 90 when Warlords dropped. I have 1 that's now 100. Hold on, pick up that I'll show the maps. And, well, no, I have 2. 1 Horde, 1 Ally. That's 100. And I have the other 4 in varying levels between 90 and 100. Because while you're questing there, the zones, I mean, I have to give Blizzard credit. They're very good. Even these zones, they're very pretty. I mean, they're definitely what they should be. They, you know. So when I'm questing there, I don't mind so much. Like right now, it'd be nice to fly. I could get to where I'm going a little faster, but it's not detrimental. Now, if I were to come back here as a higher level character, maybe to go do Sholo, since I showed that. That's a dungeon. Or something of that nature, and I was 50 or 60 or 70, and I'm basically just goofing off with my friends, and I still couldn't fly to get from point A to point B, that would be annoying. That would be seriously annoying. Now, I know, because I know this area real well, that there's a camp right here that'll have some quests for us. It'll also have a flight point. So we'll want to stop for a moment. We'll get off the bucket, pick up the quests that they have. Pick up the flight point. And I'll show you why we picked up those quests. Because they're in between here and here. So we can do them late in a little bit. And then we'll go up into Anderhall. We'll get those quests. And I think there's a rest zone there, but I'm not 100% sure. And then we'll call this episode done. So, I guess in the end, what I'm saying with the thing with Blizzard and no flying, it is, part of it's going to depend on your gameplay. Part of it's going to depend on how long you've been playing this game. But when you've played for as long as most of us have, there's a flight point here. Definitely want to pick that up. And you could fly, and you could fly. I feel like I'm quoting Disney. So I'm going to stop with saying it twice. Okay. I'm not seeing anywhere. I'm going to look back up in here, because that's where the flight point is. If there's a flight point, there's usually some sort of inn. Okay, that's food and drink. No mailbox. Okay, no mailbox. A repair guy, though. Nice. An empty inn. Nobody's home there. Alchemy supplies. This might be some areas that have rest. You can't get to it until you do certain quests. So that could be the case here. That's why right now, because I haven't done any of them, the inn is empty maybe. I really don't know. But I've picked up the quests. They're all in here. We gotta kill some um, Scourge, Bone, Animuses, and some Berserkers, and some Open Gut Behemoths, and some Desiccated Scourges. So, if you are new to the game, don't let the fact that you can't fly in Warlords deter you, especially if you're at this stage. When you get to the ability to fly, take it as the gift that it is. Realize that you're not always going to be able to use it in all areas, just like you couldn't before you got to that level. And I think if the new player base coming in learns that, they won't have the problem that us people who've been playing since BC or Lich King have with, it's always been either right as that zone open or when you hit max with MOP, you could then go and get the flight. And now you're not allowing that at all. And there is no reason, I mean, in the new zone, okay, yeah, but there's no reason why in the old zones why we can't. But obviously, we can't make Blizzard do what we want anyway, so I want to thank you guys all for watching. Like and comment and subscribe. Um, I want to, you guys are great, and I hope that you all have a really nice day.